In the quiet, wooded outskirts of Philadelphia in the winter of 1957, a tragic mystery began. One that would haunt generations of investigators, journalists, true crime enthusiasts, and everyday citizens. A small cardboard box, tossed aside like trash, held a secret that would outlive everyone who first discovered it. Inside that box was the body of a little boy, unidentified, alone, and forgotten by the world. For more than 6 decades, he would be known only as the boy in the box, a nameless child, a voiceless victim, in the center of one of the most haunting unsolved cases in American history. Today, we dive deeply into the case, its discovery, the investigation, the suspects, and the eventual effort to give this child back his name. It was February 25th, 1957, when a muskrat hunter walking through a wooded lot in Fox Chase, Philadelphia, spotted something odd: a cardboard box lying in the brush. The hunter ignored it at first, worried that if he reported it, people might question his illegal hunting traps. But the box would not stay unnoticed for long. Soon after, a young college student driving through the area saw the same box. Something compelled him to stop. When he approached it, he felt the air leave his lungs. Inside was the body of a little boy, naked, bruised, and wrapped in a cheap plaid blanket. The boy's hair had been crudely cut, as if done recently and in a hurry. Some patches of hair still clung to his skin, suggesting it might have been cut after death. His thin frame showed signs of malnutrition. He appeared to be between 3 and 7 years old. The student reported the discovery immediately. Within hours, the area filled with police officers, photographers, reporters, and volunteers. But as they began searching for clues, they had no idea this investigation would continue for more than half a century. Investigators meticulously combed the area. They created grid patterns in the mud, photographed footprints, and collected anything that wasn't naturally part of the landscape. But the crime scene only raised more questions. A blue corduroy cap, size 7.5, a child's blanket, the cardboard box, originally used to ship a baby bassinet. None of these items brought police any closer to learning who the boy was. The real tragedy lay not in the evidence, but in its silences. There were no missing child reports, no panicked parents, no neighbors with suspicions. No one came forward. It was as if this little boy had lived and died completely unseen. The boy's autopsy was heartbreaking. He was about 4 years old, severely underweight, and showed signs of chronic neglect. His body bore multiple bruises, some new, some older. His nails were neatly trimmed, suggesting someone had cared about grooming, at least in appearance. He had a deep, square-looking haircut. The uneven patches suggested it was cut quickly, possibly to disguise his identity. The medical examiner concluded that the boy likely died from blunt force trauma to the head, following by a possible period of unconsciousness. Investigators believed he had been bathed shortly before death. There were no signs of water in the lungs, so he had not drowned, but his skin looked recently washed. This detail chilled investigators the most. Someone had cared enough to clean him, but not enough to keep him alive, and not enough to claim him after he was gone. Philadelphia police pulled out all the stops. They created flyers featuring the boy's face and sent them nationwide. More than 400,000 copies were distributed, stuffed into utility bills, mailed to hospitals, and hung in store windows. Officers compared the boy's fingerprints and footprint to hospital birth records, adoption registries, and school records. Detectives visited orphanages, checked recent adoptions, and combed through reports of foster children. Nothing matched. As weeks turned into months, the case grew colder. The boy was buried, still unnamed, under a headstone reading, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." But his story didn't end, not even close. Over the decades, several major theories surfaced, each dramatic, each potentially groundbreaking, and each ultimately inconclusive. Theory 1. The foster home theory. A foster home stood just a short distance from the crime scene. People suggested the child might have lived or died there. Investigators searched the home. They found similar blankets. They found bassinets. They questioned the parents, searched the rooms, analyzed the furniture, but no evidence connected the boy definitively to the home. Next is the M theory, a confession of abuse. Years later, a woman using the pseudonym M claimed she had grown up in an abusive household and that her mother purchased the boy, abused him, and eventually killed him. She described intimate details: a haircut given in the kitchen, the boy vomiting after meals, being forced to sleep in a cold basement. Her story was graphic and emotional, but inconsistent. Investigators could not verify key facts, locations, or timelines. The leads, though compelling, eventually fell apart. And the next theory, was it human trafficking and illegal adoption? Some theorized the boy might have been the unregistered child of parents attempting to hide an illegal adoption, avoid medical bills, or conceal abuse. Again, nothing led to answers. And for decades, the case seemed suspended in time, always studied, never solved. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, new forensic techniques emerged: DNA tests, genealogy research, high-resolution imaging. The boy's remains were exhumed twice, once in 1998 and again in 2019. Each time, investigators hoped new science might succeed where traditional methods had failed. And finally, it did.
This morning, a decades-old murder mystery partially solved.
For 65 years, the story of who would come to be known as America's unknown child has haunted this community.
Investigators say they now know the boy in the box was 4-year-old Joseph Augustus Zarelli of West Philadelphia, discovered back in 1957. He was found beaten to death, malnourished and nude, wrapped in a blanket, and left in a cardboard box on the side of the road.
In his very short life, it was apparent that this child experienced horrors that no one should ever be subjected to.
In 2022, after 65 years, the boy in a box was finally identified through advanced genetic genealogy. His name was revealed as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born in January 1953. His biological parents were identified through their roles, if any, in his death remain unclear. His half-siblings were located, though the circumstances of Joseph's short life and tragic end are still clouded in mystery. Even with his name restored, the most important question remains unanswered. Who killed Joseph? The boy in the box case is one of those most haunting in American history, not just because of the violence, but because of the silence that surrounded it. For 65 years, Joseph had no name, no birthday remembered, no public obituary, no family stepping forward, yet strangers, detectives, journalists, volunteers, and everyday citizens refused to let him be forgotten. His identification in 2022 closed one chapter but opened another. The story is no longer about an unknown child. It is about a real boy with a real family and a real past that still needs to be uncovered. And until justice is found, his case will continue to echo through time. And that's going to wrap it up for me, guys, tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Everything counts. Until next time, take it easy.